Right. So the U.S. is still plundering and stealing oil in Syria. Of course. Of course. Let me show you this headline. This is from January 22nd. U.S. military convoy enters northeast Syria. How many times have I read that headline this year? Well, we're in 2021 now. Let's say the last few months. Many times. Countless times. I cannot even keep up. I wrote about it also on Twitter. This is one of the pictures of the convoy. It's about 40 trucks, right? So you got armored vehicles, all sorts of other logistical equipment. And where are they headed? The oil fields. And I'm not saying that like, oh yeah, they're here to take our oil. No, they're headed to the oil fields. That's the only place that they're occupying. Well, you also have Al Tanaf Air Base, which is to the southeast of Damascus. But we're talking about northeastern Syria, right? So Hasake, Deir ez-Zor, where you have the oil. And also it's the breadbasket region where most things used to be grown before they destroyed Syria. So let me just show you over here the map. I had a map pulled up. Here we go. There we are. Perfect. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. This is a Hasake province, okay? And Deir ez-Zor is down here. They have, man, the Americans have bases all over, right? So you have the Omar oil fields. These are the largest ones. They're also up here in Sweda. They're also down here in Deir ez-Zor. And Al Tanaf is over here, if I recall correctly, somewhere over here. But there's no oil there. That's just an airbase. So this map is a tad bit outdated because of, I'm talking about the legend, which you can't see, referring to which areas are controlled by whom, right? So Syrian army, rebel groups. Most of this area, everything here, okay, this is controlled by the Syrian government now. I mean, there's like a tiny pocket here of rebel, Free Syrian Army, where incidentally this airbase is, but most of this is back under government control. And you have the Kurds here, and you have like 20,000 jihadists in Idlib, which the media, of course, does not call them that. They call them moderate rebels. I'm not kidding. You have like 30,000 jihadists in that one spot, right? Because what the Syrian government would do when they would capture them is they would ship them off in these buses, and they dumped all of these jihadists in one place in Idlib. So, and of course, Turkey is backing them. Anyway, so just going back to this story from 3 days ago, which is like the day after Biden got inaugurated, you had the Americans coming in through the El Walid crossing, which is basically, they're coming in from Iraq, right? They're just shipping in logistics. And this is going on all the time. This is not something new. This is happening all the goddamn time for months now. You remember Donald Trump, when he pulled out of Syria, he didn't pull out. He kept troops where the oil fields are. He said, we're keeping the oil. We have control of the oil. But no one cared. And now all of a sudden you have these Trump supporters here going, Biden's been president for 1 day and he's already sending troops back to Syria and Iraq. Where's the anti-war left? Oh, so now you care about Syria all of a sudden? Really? Really? You care about us? That's so sweet of you. That's so kind of you. Well, I agree with her. Where is the anti-war left? We don't have one. Not really, in any case. Yeah, I mean, this is just... She didn't give a crap about Syria and Iraq. This is just like, oh, look at Biden. No, Trump was doing it. And you either know that and you're being dishonest or you're an idiot. Donald Trump Jr. on Twitter, look. Donald Trump is the first president in modern history who did not start a war. You sure about that? Are you sure about that? I think the only reason there wasn't a new war is because Iran did not give in to the provocations, murdering General Soleimani, flying a drone over their airspace, doing a show of force with B-52 bombers and a nuclear-powered submarine, slapping them with sanctions, pulling out of the JCPOA, and on and on and on and on and on and on. And of course, all the deaths from sanctions. I mean, Christ. And then, let me just play you again the clip of Lindsey Graham talking to Pompeo, and this is back in August. And they're openly confirming, yes, we are stealing the oil, and we made a deal. Here it is.
Thank you very much. The Caesars Act, thank you for using it quickly and in a holding Assad's son accountable is a great first step in what I think will be a long journey to punish this regime. Is more coming?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. Great job. I talked to General Mazloon yesterday with the SDF. Apparently, they've signed a deal with an American oil company to modernize the oil fields in northeastern Syria. Are you supportive of that?
We are.
That'd be a great way to help everybody in northeastern Syria.
The deal took a little longer, Senator, than we had hoped, and we're in implementation. It could be very powerful.
You've been terrific in that regard.
They're so shameless. They're just like openly admitting to stealing and plundering oil. Like it's nothing, you know? Yes, we're a bunch of colonial bastards and, you know, it's whatever, of course. And then Pompeo's like, oh, you know, the deal took a little bit longer than usual. We're sorry about that, by the way, but everything's okay now. We're stealing the oil. So don't worry. Right? So keep in mind, this is not, when he says modernizing the oil fields, stealing the oil. Who's the beneficiary? An American company, Delta Crescent Energy. This is based in Delaware, right? So the OFAC, the Treasury Department, they give them a license that exempts them from sanctions, saying that, yeah, you can go and steal the oil in Syria. Because as everybody knows, Syria is inside of the United States, right? So, of course, the United States has the authority to do such things. They're so fucking shameless, man. And again, I want to remind you, it's not just absurd on that level. The US government provided modular refineries, okay? And they also used the US military to truck them in. What do you call that? When you have a country that's using its military to help private corporations, and together they go and steal resources from black and brown countries. That's imperialism. That's vanilla, classic imperialism. It's just same old colonial bullshit. No fucking different. And they're just openly saying it in a Senate hearing, like as if it's nothing. It's okay. You know why? I'll tell you why, man. Me as a Syrian, I'm overcome with joy when I see American tanks entering Syria now that we finally have some women and a black Secretary of Defense in Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition death cult. Now it's okay, man. You know, honestly, I was annoyed when Trump was doing it, when he was stealing the oil, but now that we have such a diverse death cult in Washington, D.C., I can rest assured that everything is fine. Everything is okay. Oh, God. So the Syrian ambassador to the UN, or permanent representative Al-Jafari, he told Biden immediately, get out of Syria and stop stealing the oil. It's funny because if you go and read the headlines about it, they report it as if it's something controversial. Like, what is controversial about that? You should not be in other people's shit stealing their oil. Like, there's nothing controversial about that. It's crazy, right? The world is upside down in many regards, truly. And this is a very good caricature over here. I think this is quite accurate. Uncle Sam never changes. Only the mask does. Good, right? Good. So yeah, going back to this map over here, they're basically the U.S. They're controlling the oil fields with the Kurdish-led SDF. So everything in Hasakeh and Deir ez-Zor. So it's not just about stealing the oil, which, you know, is a valuable resource in of itself. It's like 25%. It's a quarter of all the government's revenue, but also the crops, right? This is the area where everything is grown. Cotton, lentils, wheat. The soil is most rich in this area. And of course, that's all been disrupted. And you have them hoarding it. And Syrians are starving. And I mean, it's a clusterfuck, right? You have a military occupation. You have jihadists running around. You have the oil being plundered. You have sanctions that have fucked the economy. And there's hyperinflation. The Lebanese banks, they're frozen. So all of these Syrian businesses that would go through Lebanese banks, they have billions of dollars stuck in there. And now you have bread lines in Syria. You know, like 10 years ago, $1, that's like 60 or 65 Syrian pounds. We'll call them lira as well. Just to give you an idea, what can you buy with 65 lira? I don't know, like a can of Pepsi, 15 or 20 lira, bag of chips, bag of crisps, 10 liras. You know, you can do stuff, man. Now it's 3,500. $1 is 3,500 Syrian pounds. And this country that used to have excess wheat, was a net exporter of wheat, has bread lines. I mean, what the fuck? And you want me to sit here and you want me to be like, oh yeah, Joe Biden is the lesser of two evils. To who? Explain to whom he's the lesser of two evils. It's the same evil, you motherfucker. I mean, I just showed you the comments from his Secretary of State Blinken. He applauds Trump's foreign policy in almost every regard. There's no difference between these assholes. But of course, you have people defending this, right? Saying, hey, hold on a second. Biden didn't order that. That was Trump like a few days before he left. No, that's not how it works. Yes, that's not how it works. It's not D-Day. You don't have several armies waiting to disembark and you can't move them. No, you can, make calls. You have satellite communications. Biden could dismantle every US base in one day if he wanted to. He doesn't want to. You know why? Because he's not there to stop the wars. He's not there to go against the interests of the military industrial complex, the fossil fuel and oil industry. He's not going to do that because he's not different from Trump. They're all the same shit, and you won't get that. And it's like, even when you put it in people's faces, look, they're still invading. They're still here. No, that was Trump. And they're doing that now with the COVID stuff, right? At first, Biden said, in the first 100 days, I'm going to be tough on COVID. I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to solve this crisis. And now he says, oh man, the trajectory is on a path of its own. I can't do anything. It's all Trump's fault. I bet you he's going to say the same thing about Yemen. Oh man, Trump, he botched this, and we'd love to remove sanctions on Yemen, but we just can't do it. So sorry, a bunch of million people have to starve. The country with the most powerful military in history, the richest country on earth, it can't leave. It can't prevent suffering and sanctions. Really? Wow. Okay. Who buys this? Who buys this except a dunce, a moron, or someone who's trying to make excuses for war criminals and deep throat their boots and be a bootlicker? Disgusting, man. You can go ahead and make as many excuses as you want. It doesn't change the reality on the ground. And this is exactly what we warned you about. This is exactly what we told you. I told you, go and look months ago. I'm telling you, look at what Blinken is saying. Listen to Tony Blinken. He's saying Biden is going to keep troops in Syria. He's going to keep the oil. Who was listening when I was saying that? Who was paying attention? Reading? I mean, you don't have to read between the lines. It's just saying it. You go read the CBS and Washington Post interviews. No, it's the lesser of two evils. It's the lesser of two evils. Oh man, it's like dealing with zombies, really.